Good morning, everyone. Well, afternoon. My name is Kara, and I am the Business Development Coordinator for both ASTA as well as NACSA, which is soon to become the ASTA Small Business Network. I will be today's organizer for our presentation, and I am happy to welcome today's presenter, Mr. Joseph Leone with Silversea Cruises. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We'll be answering your questions at the end of this presentation. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane, there is an area that says Questions. If you click the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you're having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned all the way on. And if you've called in, please try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues that you may have via this questions pane, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. I will also be responding via the same questions pane. Please note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you all, but with so many people on today's call, background noise would be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear the entire presentation. Finally, please note that this webinar is being recorded and it will be available for on-demand viewing on our NACSA YouTube channel by early next week. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Joe.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And hello, ASTA Small Business Network. Good afternoon from sunny Florida, and good morning to those of you out on the West Coast. First, I want to thank you for your time this afternoon. I know how busy you are and how precious your time is, so thank you for spending the afternoon with me, because I think it's really important that we spend some time on covering where are we finding and sourcing our new luxury customers, and quite frankly, how do we speak to our existing luxury customers, and how do we foster and continue to create this great conversion and sense of loyalty from our existing base. And I hope to share with you all here today, hopefully some ways to identify existing customers within your database that may be sailing in other markets, or may not realize that a luxury option is as attainable or as close to where they are now as it is. So we'll go ahead and get started. This isn't a product webinar, but we are going to talk a little bit about the product, because it's very important to me and us here at Silversea that we share with you how we position ourselves. What are our main talking points? How is it that we want to be perceived in the eyes of the customer and both you, the advisor? So it's a very simple, the focus is destination, ladies and gentlemen, and every cruise line you work with, I know that there are dozens of them out there. We all want to make a claim on destination, because it, quite frankly, is the fabric of our business, is taking passengers to a destination of some sort. But what makes destination a focus here at Silversea, and the key differentiator, is the fact that we are able to touch on 965 different ports of call in a single year. I can tell you that not just in the luxury set, but in the industry as a whole, that is more than double any other cruise line, regardless of size, including the big guys. You know, they can only get to certain areas. Where here at Silversea, we operate the largest luxury fleet with nine ships in our fleet, and I'll show you the details on that in just a moment. But we also have the luxury, or the opportunity, to operate two very different platforms and two very different vacation offerings. We have what we call our classic voyages. That is, it's right there with what your customers would expect from a luxury cruise sailing to the Med, Northern Europe, Caribbean, Central America, South America. But we also go beyond that and head into our expedition product, which takes you to, of course, some of the world's most remote locations, and also offers you an opportunity to see some of the world's most popular destinations in a completely different way. And you see that here through Antarctica. You see that obviously in the Galapagos, and what we do in the Arctic regions. But, you know, we go down to the South Pacific, and, you know, what we offer in an expedition through Micronesia, Melanesia, and then, of course, looking at the Australia, New Zealand, and giving your customers an opportunity to see those sites from a completely different perspective. You know, cruising into the Kimberley Coast in Australia to see their famed horizontal waterfalls is a far departure from cruising out of Sydney to Melbourne and the standard ports of call. So, you know, we have this unbelievable option and this depth and broad choice of itinerary, and that's truly what makes us the destination cruise line of choice. We sail to not just more destinations, but we do them differently. When you sail from London, we sail from the Tower Bridge when possible, or we leave from Greenwich. And when we dock in St. Petersburg, we're docked in downtown, right on the embankment outside of the Hermitage and in town. So again, a different feel and experience even when calling in on some of the more commercially popular ports of call. So always remember, destination is definitely our key. Like I said, we do it to all 7 continents on 900 different destinations, and we're able to do it on 9 different ships, and 5 of which are dedicated. This is what our fleet looks like today and how it's going to look tomorrow, quite frankly. We've got 5 ships that are dedicated to the classic fleet, with 2 more on order for delivery in 2020 with the Silver Moon and the Silver Dawn in 2021. And you can see here that our format is no more than 600 passengers. We found that is the right fit. We felt we can offer customers spacious, opulent ships that give them access to public lounges and wide open spaces that they enjoy so much on other larger brands. But we do so in an exclusive setting with far fewer people, 600 passengers. Just to put it in perspective, you know, the Muse is about 40,000 tons. She carries 596 passengers. On a premium brand of a 40,000 ton ship, it's not uncommon to see 1,250 passengers. So, you know, that definitely is the difference and creates this great sense of space for your customers. And then when you look at what we do on the expedition side, we have 4 ships dedicated to the expedition part of the business. And that really gives us a lot of choice in terms of what we can see every season. And if you think, you know, with the 4 ships, it gives us the ability to deploy in all major destinations for expedition and have a ship year-round in the Galapagos. So you'll find that the Silver Discoverer is stationed in the South Pacific mostly. The Silver Cloud is one of our polar region ships. So is the Silver Explorer. And the Discoverer, again, sounds South Pacific with the Galapagos in the one destination year-round. She does operate every 7 days in and out of the Galapagos Islands. So as you can see here, you can imagine the choice that we're able to offer. And for those of you that were wondering how we can get to 965 ports in just 365 days, this is how. And so we're very proud of our little fleet, our little big fleet, I like to call her, because you can see that we carry a few amount of passengers, but not a small fleet by any stretch of the imagination. And by the time we get to 2021, we will consist of 11 ships. So we talked about destination being the differentiator, but there are also some very key points and pillars that your customers have come to expect from a luxury brand like Silversea. And other luxury brands. You know, it would be easy for me to stand here and talk to you about how great our ships are, because they are, how unbelievable our staff is, because they are, and how delicious and wonderful and highly rated our food is, because it is. But quite frankly, that's part of being a luxury brand. It's what you expect, it's what you should expect, it's what your customers expect. So what I wanted you to walk away from really was not what makes me similar to the other luxury guys. What sets me apart? That's destination. But what makes us a luxury brand is what you see here on the screen. And so those same standards are not an exception here at Silversea. Our ships are constantly being refurbished. We have no more than 600 passengers to keep that exclusive atmosphere on board. Most of our suites have verandas, all with walk-in closets and marble bathrooms, wines and spirits served throughout, in-suite bar service. And we're the only cruise line to feature butler service in every category. Often passengers ask me what a butler would do, and I think my easy answer is anything as long as it's legal. But the truth is, it's really what a butler is supposed to do is to be there and offer his services. And I think that sometimes on other lines, the experience is you have to kind of request the butler to do his job. I can tell you here at Silversea, these guys take a lot of pride in being the best at sea. We take a lot of pride in them for being the best at sea. They are not going to wait for you to tell them what to do. They're going to make sure you ask them to stop doing things for you. And that's really the focus our butler service, and that attention to detail in every category is very important. You don't have to pay more to receive exclusive service. Everyone on board, in our opinion, is entitled to the same level of service and attention. Onboard gratuities are included. We now feature free Wi-Fi throughout the entire fleet in every destination. Be warned, it's a little spotty in Antarctica at times, so we go to some really remote places. So you may find that it's intermittent, but is available, believe it or not. And open seating restaurants and specialty dinings available throughout most of the fleet and throughout the ship. So that is the lifestyle, that is the luxury standard, that is the standard in which we operate our fleet, and what you and your customers have come to expect from a luxury cruise line. So the subject of today's webinar is how to increase your luxury business. I like to think of how to identify the luxury base you already have. I think, you know, this goes without saying, and I know that you all know this, and it's all about contact and frequency, and creating frequent contact with your clients is so very important to make sure that we're always top of mind. There's always someone else out there with a new vehicle for a touch, a new shipboard credit, or a really robust sounding type of promotion, really fancy type of promotion or appealing. But it's important to stay in constant contact with your customers. It's so true. If you're not speaking with them, someone else is. So that obviously goes without saying. But you know, use the tools that are available to you, right? Many of you belong to these wonderful consortia networks. I know the ASTA networks have certain tools and services available to you. Us as suppliers, we too have these services available for you. You know, here at Silversea, through mysilversea.com, you can create a username and password and get access to our marketing platform, which is Marketing Central. Now, in Marketing Central, here it provides you the ability to create a professional-looking marketing piece, whether it be an email blast or a flyer, or even a custom ad to print in your local paper, a web banner for your website. All of this is available through that resource, and what it does is it provides you with a tremendous amount of, I guess, creative horsepower, right? It gives you that infrastructure support that maybe you may have to wait for on a host agency to get for you, or some of you that are operating, you know, you're small but big businesses. I know that sometimes that's a challenge. Is, you know, how do I continue to market myself while branding with this company and the supplier? So use those supplier tools out there. Many of us have them. We do. Again, it's mysilversea.com. And once you create a username and password, under the resources portion of the website, you will find a link to Marketing Central that will give you access to all of that creative type of materials. And again, the different types of information that we have there for you and the different channels that you can use to stay in constant contact with your customers. Obviously, I think a combination of several of these is key. Email marketing, we all know how important that is. Direct mail is still a viable source, believe it or not, very, very much so. And social media being the least expensive of all of this, and a really personal touch. But something that agents, I think, or advisors have shunned away from, and really we should come back to, is consumer events. You know, that interaction, that face-to-face interaction with both you as the advisor, but equally as important, directly with the supplier. Do consumer events that are joint with your supplier friends, because it really offers a tremendous amount of credibility to the message. It gives your customer access to people who they can ask questions to and get immediate answers. And many times, us as suppliers, we're very willing to offer you and feature a special promotion to support you and your investment. So, you know, remember, stay in constant contact and use those channels. And, you know, we want to talk about where these passengers live, where do we find these passengers, how do we get them, how do we find them? And I can tell you that charities is a Kara, are you there?
We are here, Joe.
Okay, great. I just heard a message from the webinar say my message was invalid, so I just want to make sure I wasn't disconnected. Okay, great. Sorry, let me get back on track here. So where do we find these customers? And our suggestion to you is look into your charities, obviously, the passengers that sail in this market are very philanthropical, and they go out and are very much part of their local communities. They contribute to their local communities and are always looking for ways to support that. So, you know, whether or not you're a contributor or a donor to that particular organization, get in on their website, get in on their list, find a way to mingle and participate with their events, because these charities do have events. They're always looking for suppliers or partners that can help with not just donations, but prizes, or at least message to talk about. Club affiliation is so important. You know, many of our customers, they belong to affinity type groups or groups with special interests, and that is something that can get you a lot of access to, because unlike a country club where there's a big membership where maybe, you know, we don't belong to them and it's hard to gain access to them. But if you think of, you know, a gardening club, a theater club, an arts club, a chess club, bridge club, mahjong, all of these special interest groups, they travel together. They tend to be groups that have a strong affluent contingency to them. They have a strong affluent and presence within their organizations. And it's something that you don't have to worry too much about gaining access. Once you're a member of these clubs and affiliations, then, you know, hopefully you can go in there and promote maybe a specialty cruise or a hosted cruise. And think about doing that, right? Going out and hosting time with your customers, they really respond well to that. And always ask for referrals. You know, we forget sometimes, and those of you that are out there and are the most successful are always looking for referrals, and always pay attention to your customers' past travel history. Try to recognize trends when they're ready to graduate up. You know, currently retired executives are going to get beyond the mass market premium style cruising and get more into a smaller setting, and think of the cars they drive, the homes they own, the communities they live in and contribute to, and the education that they have, is always going to help point you in the right direction of a new luxury customer, how to identify a new luxury customer. And, you know, we spent a little bit of time at the beginning of the session talking about the sea of sameness, right? And it's so important for us that we try to navigate away from these waters. We do not, you know, we want to talk about our food, and we want to be known for our service, and we want to be known for the opulence and the setting within our ships. But, you know, what makes your customer pick up the phone and what drives their interest most, and the reason why they called us to begin with, is because there's a curiosity about the world, there's an interest to learn a new culture, and a thirst to visit a new place and try new cuisines. So, you know, as important as the ship is, as important as the cuisine is, let's not forget what the main request is and what's the driving factor behind their purchase. It's where we can take them and how we can take them there. So stay away from the sea of sameness, and that goes into your marketing as well, right? We keep hearing about how do we target to our millennials and Gen Xers, and I got to tell you, it sounds like a really exciting market, but for me in particular, and for us here at Silversea, that's not our focus. Our focus has to continue to be with the baby boomers. It is not just the present, but it is the future of my company and of this market. You know, your baby boomers do no longer reflect what the traditional image is of the retired traveler. And, you know, this is what these guys look like. They're more active and dynamic in retirement, no question about it. They see retirement as a time to enrich themselves. They are more hungry for experiences, not so much actual items or tangible items. They see a journey as an opportunity for them to learn, for them to grow and improve themselves, and they value personal enrichment. They value, you know, sitting in a circle on dirt, learning about an indigenous tribe in Papua New Guinea. And at one point, the luxury traveler may have thought that was dirty, but the experience and the value they get out of interacting with these people firsthand, in that firsthand experience, that's what they value most in the baby boomer section. So You want to talk about opportunity and why we keep going back to the baby boomers. This is why. Not only are they the highest travel spenders today, 68% of all disposable income in the U.S. is controlled by this group. That's a huge number. And $15 trillion is expected to be inherited by this group in the next 20 years. That's an extraordinary number. And if you think of that 15 trillion being nothing but expendable income, okay, disposable income, because you have to assume that these people already have their own income. If this is inherited, they need to put this back into their travel experiences, right? And so only 5 to 10% of marketing is targeted towards this traveler. And that's okay, as long as you're not Silversea or a luxury product, right? Because, again, this is our market, this is the segment, this is where we have the biggest spend. So please, when marketing our brand, that's where to go to, that's the demographics to follow. Always important to market to your Gen Xers and your millennials, and certainly we'd love to have younger generations on board the ship. What we don't want you to do is make that your focus, your commercial focus, because we know that there's a far greater opportunity at the boomer market, which we already know and have identified. And, you know, luxury has changed. It really has. The meaning of luxury has evolved. I think that opulence is replaced with authentic experiences, no question about it. Exclusivity is in the things that are simple. Experience is the new currency in luxury, and if you think about that line for just a moment, you think of what it used to be. It used to be about comfort, opulence, exclusivity, and exclusivity is still very much part of the equation. Luxury requires detail and choice, but if you think of where we're taking our customers and the reaction and the value they see in those experiences, whether it be docking at the Tower Bridge in London, downtown in St. Petersburg, and how that makes them feel, or again, traveling to Papua New Guinea and having time with the Mudman tribe there, or in Sri Lanka, or even down into Antarctica, and having the opportunity to walk amongst 200,000 king penguins in South Georgia Island. I mean, that experience may not have been considered luxury at some point in time in the past, but today it very much is. So we talked about where to find that luxury customer. They're out there. They are at those clubs. They are contributing to charities. They're in your neighborhood. You know, they go to the same hairstylist, believe it or not. So listen for them. They're out there. But where do you have the existing, where's the new luxury customer within your existing base? That's the better question for you now to get immediate results. And I can tell you that these 4 categories is exactly where to look. And I'm going to give you some advice. We like to think here at Silversea that anyone spending $250 per person per day, cruise only, to sail on a premium or a contemporary line is a prime candidate for a luxury cruise. And I'll show you how close we are in cost in just a moment. But think about your premium cruise clientele. You know, from an experience point of view, there's no difference. I mean, there's a huge difference. There's really very little similarities. They carry thousands of passengers. We carry a few hundred. They have inside, outside, balcony, large suites, mix of the entire experience. But I think where you'll find that there's crossover is in the top suite in the premium line. Those folks are paying for an experience they've yet to have. Escorted land tour. Think about those clients that enjoy, as much as they enjoy diving deeper into the land experience, they may find it grueling and exhausting at this point to have to pack and unpack several times throughout a vacation. River cruise clientele. Those of us that try to compare river and ocean cruises, I think we're way off base, but there's a couple of similarities to it. Number one, the inclusions on board. In most of these river cruise companies, you'll find it similar here at Silversea and on the luxury brands, and price point. River cruises are not inexpensive. And I think that you'll find that your customers that are paying for a river cruise have the means to take a luxury vacation on ocean. And multi-generational families. You know, we talked about experience being the new currency in luxury. You know, there was a time where grandma wanted a new diamond ring for her 60th birthday or a new Mercedes. Instead, she wants to take 11 of you to the Galapagos now. And that's really the focus of the consumer moving forward. Think about your milestone dates. My honeymoon still is one of the most expensive vacations I've ever taken, and it is for your customers as well. So listen for those buying signals and those opportunities, because you'll be able to explain the difference between us and these premium guys, between us and the river, right? And so when you're looking at the premium set, what sets us apart? Well, you think about the ship size and the experience you get out of having half the amount of passengers on the same size ship. That's huge. 900 different destinations, so the broad choice that we offer you is second to none in the world. And guess the staff ratio. I always joke with this illustration, because we talk about ratios to customers and we say 1 to 3 crew to passenger ratio, and we hope they understand what that means. But this illustration really puts it in perspective, right? And I always joke, you can see how many more people need to get a glass of wine before I can get my second one on the far left here. But if you look at the little blue icon here, it doesn't take long, right? So use this with your customers. It really helps paint that picture for service and what these ratios really mean for your guests. And then you look at the room size. Our smallest suite's 376 square feet. On these premium guys, once you get into the name suite and those larger level suites, they usually start around 300. And sure, they go up from there, but so do we. Opportunity, right? Here it is. This is what I wanted to show you is, collectively there's less than 10,000 berths amongst all 4 of the luxury lines. Limited opportunity. In the premium suite categories and higher, on these 4 premium lines alone, there's over 70,000 opportunities that are deployed on a weekly basis. Ladies and gentlemen, rather than fighting with Regent or Seabourn to move a customer that they've worked hard and have done a great job to earn their loyalty, we're going to find a much greater success in explaining to a Cunard or a Princess passenger how the value and the inclusions in luxury are close to the spend and the cost that they've already experienced on these other lines, but the experience and the delivery of the product is on a completely different plane. And this is where we are. This shows you what the difference is in the luxury platform. It also shows you the difference in the price. It looks like we're 4 times as much of some of these examples, and it certainly appears that way at first. And as you go through, you see the number of passengers. That makes a big difference. Service ratios, space ratios, square footage and average square footage throughout the vessel, and then of course our upgraded linens. But again, the cost becomes a very big objection. But here's where things get put into real great perspective for your customers, and where you could use our charts or build your own. Always build your own when customers considering taking one of these larger suites on a premium line. Because, this is more than the conversation of what we include versus what they don't. We've added costs here for things we do not include either. But the idea is we have to have a conversation about costs. And it's not about what they pay to get on, it's about what it costs to get on and off the ship. And they have to get there too. So you'll see that we include economy air. We also have all the other inclusions that we covered earlier in the slide prior. And so what happens to the price that appeared to be up to 4 times as expensive is now much closer and much more in reach. And in matter of fact, when you add our business class promotion in the Mediterranean in particular, you could see that we line up almost right there, and in some cases we might be a little less money. So always use this, because value is such an important part of our conversation. We talk about destination being a highlight. Value is an appropriate part of the conversation, especially when we display it this way. Build your own charts, use our charts, but please, I encourage you, have these conversations with your customers, because you will surprise yourselves. They will surprise you on how willing they are to make this leap, how thirsty they are for this option. People hear luxury, they immediately think it's too expensive. It's not the case when it comes to luxury cruising. There's always value in it. So build a successful co-op plan with your supplier is the next tip I could give you. Use the tools that your consortia and your suppliers have given you. Talk to your local reps. Work with my team here on the inside. Contact me directly to build a plan. Let's have an objective. Let's organize some sort of strategic plan to market. Let's come up with a measurable goal and make sure that our plan is adaptable and it's flexible, that we're trying many different ways to get to customers and not just focusing on one action. And you know, hold us accountable. And what we're looking for from you and what we can contribute to this, you know, this is a win-win for both of us. So communication is absolutely key. And communicating what you need, when you need it, and how much you need is very important. It helps, the details help us provide you with a greater level of co-op support in terms of dollars. You know, let's again, defining those clear objectives. We want to create awareness. We need to create awareness for our brand, awareness about how diverse we are for destination, and how strong our value proposition is, the things that we just talked about. And then, of course, how that's going to help you generate revenue and greater profits and commissions for your bottom line. Target your database to align with who we are. You know, understand who our audience is. And we just talked about that here. Find ways to segment it. And hey, you know, we don't need 5,000 emails. I'm happy to feature and work with you on something that goes to 500 to 50, or even just 5 of your top customers. You know, it only takes one booking here at Silversea to take you from a zero to $20,000 producer. It takes 2 bookings to go from 20 to 40,000. So it doesn't take much to move the needle, but it does take a bit of focus and narrowing down who it is that we're speaking to. And then call us and put it to us, and we'll be with you. Wanting to build marketing plans. When we request a marketing plan, work with us. Talk to us about the tactical levers that you can pull. We can give you the strategic focus we need as a supplier, and together we can come up with the appropriate results that's going to help us both grow our businesses. Because at the end, it is a virtuous circle and everybody wins. This is a win-win-win. Your clients get a luxury cruise they didn't think that they could afford. Agency and the agent makes twice as much money off the first booking as you would any other cruise line, because we pay on the total cruise price. And you saw that in my illustration from the comparison guides on how much more you make in commissions. We joke here and we say all of our commission checks feature a comma in them. And, you know, we say it to be funny and cute, but it's very true. It's very true. I think that's a big difference. And, you know, what's in it for us is we get a new guest. We help you find a new customer. You help bring us somebody that's sailing on another luxury line, or you're bringing us somebody that's sailing in a lower market. You've helped them graduate into the experience that they've expected, so that we both get repeat business for the future. And this continues to go round and round and round and completes the virtuous circle. And the last thing, you know, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, you all have been advisors for a long, long time. And hopefully I had an opportunity to spend time with many of you a couple of weeks ago while we were in DC. But this is so important to reiterate, and always worth it. Ladies and gentlemen, qualify your customers. The ones that miss out most often are the ones that don't ask questions, that they don't find out what's most important to their customer. They don't ask them what other companies they're considering, or what they didn't enjoy from their last vacation. It's so very important to not sell them what the lead rate is. Don't lead with price, and don't be afraid of it. Your customer will see value in experiences. Make sure you recap those conversations and you touch on the highlights that are most important to them, because once you qualify those, there's something within the fabric of our brand that is going to fit whatever their most important need is. Whether that be destination, detail, service, ship, food, whatever that is for your customer that is most important, there is something that we have that fits that need. And then there's a whole lot more to complement it and surround it. And then, you know, talk about value, ladies and gentlemen. Value is so very, very important. Talk about how it feels to not have a conversation interrupted because someone needs a signature, or how there's no awkwardness at the bar. Whose turn is it to pay? you know, it's something to be said for being at dinner, and when the waiter offers you a glass of wine, you just say yes. You don't have to process the fact that you've spent $13 a glass twice already at dinner, and you know what? I don't feel like spending another $13. Otherwise, you would have just had them pour it. So there's value in that, and there's also value in not having the constant reminder that you're still paying for your holiday with every day. That's very important. And one last point. I mean, you know, asking questions and pointing them to the right product is going to prove your worth, and it's going to gain their trust. Enjoy and have fun, ladies and gentlemen. We are creating dreams. We're taking people to places they never dreamed they could get to, and have fun. People like to deal with happy people. And one of my favorite quotes is from Norman Vincent Peale, and the quote says, "Enthusiasm spells the difference between mediocrity and accomplishment." And those of us that are enthusiastic are going to do our jobs responsibly. We're going to have fun and find a tremendous amount of enjoyment in it. And in the end, all of that's going to lead to us making money, both sides, and your customers to have the best experience possible. So with that, I just wanted to, again, so very much thank you for your time this afternoon. I really hope that this was, you found something beneficial and something that's going to help bring you to your next luxury customer.
Thank you, Joe, for such an informative webinar. I can speak on behalf of all of our advisors that they definitely were able to have some amazing takeaways from it. And it looks like our only question so far is there a place where you have these comparison sheets housed so that I can direct our advisors to them?
There is, but they're so popular we ran out of them. So I have to reprint. But you can find them on, again, mysilversea.com. That's our agent portal website. You can access it through the silversea.com website. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Silversea is one word and it's singular. Many of us make that mistake. So when you're looking for the Silversea website, it's simple, www.silversea.com. You'll find a link at the bottom to the agent portal. Otherwise, you can get right there by going to mysilversea.com. Create your username and password, and you'll have access to many of these marketing materials right through that site.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Joe. It doesn't look like there's any more questions coming in, but you are getting a lot of accolades, a lot of thank yous, and a great job on your webinar.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for, again, giving of your very valuable time. My email address, ladies and gentlemen, is josephL@silversea.com. And please feel free to reach out to me with any questions you might have, and if there's assistance that you need with an existing booking or a new one, I'd love the opportunity to help you. And thank you.
No, Joe, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, Joe, and everyone who joined us. Again, thank you on behalf of ASTA and the Small Business Network. We hope everyone enjoys their weekend.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.